The Newsday continues here on One News Now Business. I'm Diego Castro. Here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. Land Transportation Office Chief Jose Artugade has stepped down from his post. In a statement issued by the Presidential Communications Office, Tugade said that even as the LTO and Transportation Department both aim to succeed in serving the public, their methods, their target differ from each other. Tugade says he is stepping down to give Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista, quote, the free hand to choose who he can work best with. Tugade says that even as a private citizen, he will continue to root for the success of the LTO. The Energy Department says the Philippines has many potential gas fields that remain unexplored. The Presidential Communications Office quoted DOE Undersecretary Alessandro Sales as saying that there are areas near the Malampaya gas field could be developed to produce additional 210 billion cubic feet of gas reserves. With this, Sales said the country's oil and gas exploration is still open to interested investors to tap these potential resources. His statement came after President Bongbong Marcos renewed the Malampaya deal for another 15 years. The consortium is composed of Prime Energy Resources Development BV, a subsidiary by Razon-led Prime Infrastructure Capital, as well as UC38 LLC owned by Tycoon Dennis Uy and state-owned PNOC Exploration Corporation. The national government was able to trim the deficit in its overall balance of payments in April from the same period a year ago. Data from the Bangko Sentral showed that the country's BOP position stood at $148 million deficit in April. This is narrower than the $415 million gap in the same month in 2022. The latest figure is, however, a reversal of the $1.27 billion surplus recorded in March of 2023. The BOP measures the country's transactions with the rest of the world at any given time. A deficit means more funds fled the economy than what went in. The BSP says the April deficit reflected outflows arising mainly from the national government's payments of its foreign currency debt obligations. Given the latest figure, the BOP for the first 4 months of the year now stands at the $3.3 billion surplus. The Agriculture Department will implement what it calls a cold storage price for onions to bring down retail prices. According to DA Assistant Secretary Christine Evangelista, stakeholders have agreed on a cold storage price for wholesale price of 115 pesos per kilo for red onions and 100 pesos for every kilo of white onions. This as the DA is expected to implement suggested retail prices for onions. Under the agreed-upon SRP, red onions should sell for about 150 pesos by the kilo, while white onions should be priced at around 140 pesos per kilo. This in a bid to bring down retail prices of onions, which have reached 200 pesos per kilo in markets as of recent. The DA warns that retailers who fail to comply with onions SRPs will face cases of profiteering and price manipulation. The DA is expected to implement onion SRPs today or tomorrow.
Retailers did not have access also dun sa tamang presyo ng sibuyas, kaya hindi po sila makasunod dun sa ating suggested retail price. With fixing yung bottleneck sa cold storage, which is parang wholesale price din po lumalabas, then we believe that if this is going to be already fair sa ating retailer para po sila makasunod sa tamang presyo.
The Trade Department says there will be no increases in the prices of basic necessities and prime commodities in the near future. When asked if the agency would issue a suggested retail price bulletin, the DTI says it would depend on the situation. Trade Undersecretary Ruth Castello says they have been increasing prices due to the economic climate in the country, the Philippine Star reports. However, the trade official says the government must give consumers' pockets time to breathe. The DTI also reveals that it has pending requests from manufacturers to increase prices in their respective goods. This due to an increase in logistics and packaging costs as well as the foreign exchange rate. No price movements for basic goods. but motorists might feel a little shakeup in their wallets as oil companies implement mixed fuel price movements this week. Effective tomorrow, May 23, gasoline will be pricier by 80 centavos per liter. Diesel will also see an increase of 60 centavos per liter. This marks the second consecutive week of price hikes for both gasoline and diesel. Prices of kerosene, on the other hand, will be down by 10 centavos per liter. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. The Asian Development Bank hosted a reception in honor of President Bongbong Marcos. ADB President Masatsugu Asakawa welcomed Marcos Jr. and his cabinet members at the lender's headquarters in Mandaluyong City. The chief executive said the ADB has increased its assistance to the Philippines for agriculture, climate change, mitigation, and other programs. Marcos Jr. added that his administration is now seeking financial aid from the ADB for the revival of the food stamp program. The ADB said the Philippines received nearly $3 billion in financial assistance last year, the fifth largest amount among its member countries.
The ADB has always been a steadfast ally for nearly 6 decades now, ever reliable and unparalleled in its developmental assistance programs that have spanned across many political cycles.
The Finance Department says its Privatization and Management Office, or PMO, hopes to dispose of 2 billion pesos worth of assets via auction this year. The target, if achieved, represents a step up from the 501 million pesos generated last year. The PMO is required to have 500 million pesos worth of assets ready for auction every month. According to a finance official, at least 4 copper and nickel mines are being readied for auction this year, noting possible foreign interest in Basay mining corporations. Amid the Finance Department's efforts to increase the pace of privatization under the current government, the official also says privatizing the PAGCOR's commercial operations is expected to take some time, despite support from its board. This after the chairman requested a delay of up to 2 years in consideration of employees who might be affected. The extension was also requested to increase the value of the casinos. The governor of Montana in the United States recently signed a law banning TickTock in the state, setting up the first legal and logistical test to restrict access to the app. Here are the legal challenges that Montana may face after banning TickTock.
Montana has banned TikTok. It is the first state to do this, to move beyond government devices to every single device from January the 1st. Now, Greg Gianforte, the Republican governor of the state, has said it's because they're worried in particular about access to data of users by the Chinese Communist Party. Now, remember, TikTok will dispute that this happens, and indeed there's little tangible evidence to show that it actually is. But TikTok's owner is ByteDance, a Chinese company. So come January the 1st, the app stores, think Google, Apple, and TikTok, are going to be up for big fines if they're seen to still be allowing access to TikTok in the state. But this is going to be legally challenged, and it's also going to be really difficult to enforce. Just think, the trade associations are already pointing out it's basically impossible for the likes of Apple and Google to prevent the use of TikTok in a single state. Just think if you've already got it downloaded and, well, what if you're using a VPN? And then TikTok has already come out fighting, saying this is against the First Amendment, access to free speech. But this does keep on the political pressure on TikTok, and also the political pressure on the Biden administration, which is currently negotiating some sort of relief to the national security concerns with the company.
And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Jago Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News. All sides, all the time.